We disagree about this. Croc thinks the 49ers will do the right thing and cut Jimmy Garoppolo. That is the right thing to do. It's what they should do. I'm very pessimistic. I think they are dug in, and I think they're going to hold on to him. So let's just say I'm right, just for the sake of conversation, because it's a lot more interesting if they hold on to him. If they cut him, it's over. It's someone else's. He's someone else's problem. If they hold on to him, how will they structure it? Will there be a quarterback competition? Will he participate in practice, or will they keep him out on the side and just say he's throwing? Will he be active on game days, or will they say, we're just sort of keeping him in bubble wrap for the eventual trade? How do they handle that sticky situation if it comes to that?
Man, that's so tough. Because, logic says, and I saw someone earlier, like, we'll just let them go to camp and battle it out. Just have an open QB competition, right? And that's tough because Trey Lance needs every rep that he can get. The biggest thing is inexperience. And he needs as much throws in this offense. He needs as much time with Kyle Shanahan, understanding, hey, what does he do well? What doesn't he do well? And understanding, I think everybody thinks about the game plan, but also just calling plays around the strengths of your quarterback, just like he does with Jimmy. The way that Kyle, now some of the concepts are the same, but the way Kyle calls plays for Jimmy Garoppolo is still different than how he called plays and saw them working out with Matt Ryan. Like you have to learn your quarterback. And the more you take reps away from Trey Lance because you want this quarterback competition, the less you know about where he's at and the things that you need to do to have a successful season calling plays for him. So I just think that would be so bad bringing him into that. You already made your bed with who you want at the quarterback position. It's Trey Lance.
Yes.
This season, you're trying to salvage the situation with Jimmy Garoppolo because you botched it with the trade. Kyle said that there were second-round picks on the line and all that. Like, not Kyle, excuse me, John. John, you're a liar. There weren't no second-round picks offered to him, right? But you botched that whole situation, and you try to figure out how to cut bait, whatnot. But you got to just cut bait with it. You got to just let it go.
But they won't.
I don't see a scenario. The only thing I can think of where I'd be like, okay, you got to have Jimmy, is if right now, knock on wood, Trey Lance gets hurt and he just can't throw. True. And it's like, all right, well, Jimmy, let's go. But aside from that, man, you got to go all in, man. You got to go all in. I know you do.
But here's
I know you're saying, though, what happens if they keep him? I don't even know what that looks like.
Let me try my best to paint that picture. It's an absurd picture, and I know that's everyone's question. So this is what I think they're going to try to do. They're going to say, unless Cleveland comes through with an offer in the next 2 weeks, right? Maybe Deshaun Watson gets suspended for the year. Cleveland comes through, end of story. But if that doesn't happen, I think what they're going to say is, look, yeah, he's cleared to throw, but he hasn't thrown in 5 months. Like, he needs to build up his arm before any team's going to trade for him. He's not 100% yet. So we don't want him. We want to trade him. We're going to have him rehab at our facility or maybe away from the facility. But he's still on our team, and he's going to be throwing, and we're going to give him ball boys, and we're going to have a plan, and we're going to gradually build up his arm strength. And hopefully some team trades for him during the preseason. If not, I think this is where it gets weird. If some team doesn't trade for him during the preseason, I think they'll keep him. Maybe they'll try to slash his salary. I don't see why Jimmy would agree to it. I think he'd rather leave. But they could keep him as like the Texans did with Watson last year. You're just inactive. And if a team loses a quarterback and they want to make a trade, boom, Jimmy's available. If Trey Lance gets hurt, boom, Jimmy's available. Or if he flops, that's your hedge. You say it's just a trade, but really it's because you don't know what's going to happen with Trey. And if something bad happens, you can pivot. And I think that's terrible because as long as Jimmy's technically on the roster, again, you're going to have the arm fatigue, the spiral, the this, the that. There's going to be a lot of nitpicking until he's gone, I think.
Right. And the crazy thing is Jimmy was like 5 straight interceptions in the practice. And it's like, no, we can deal with that. But this wobbly ball, no, can't deal with that.
Do you think that the Niners are going to try to pull off what I just described? Or I know you don't think they'll try to, but is it even? If
they are going to do it, that would be the best way to go about it.
The best way to do it, right?
Yeah. And remember, we forget how the 49ers got Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah.
The New England Patriots kind of knew that this was going to be a weird situation. You have Jimmy Garoppolo in the last year of his contract. Mm-hmm. Teams are interested in him. But, man, we got Tom Brady. What do we do? They knew they had to get rid of him. Well, they held out to the very last minute and traded him at the deadline. And I could see the 49ers potentially, if they have to have Jimmy on the roster then, teams by week 8 might know a little bit more where they are at with their quarterback position. And they're like, you know what? well, there's Jimmy Garoppolo over there with the 49ers. Let's go get him. We'll have to extend him somehow, but maybe that's a better situation for him and the organization that he's going to. They know more about their quarterback situation at that time, and maybe he can have a little bit more value.
Maybe. I mean, I just feel like they've said we're not going to cut Jimmy. We're going to trade Jimmy. Jimmy's good. Jimmy's worth something. And it's hard to go back after you said that so many times publicly. So they keep saying, look, he's just – the reason we haven't traded him yet is because he's still working his way back from that shoulder surgery. So don't rush us. The trade deadline is in freaking October. This was the plan all along, and we can afford this. I mean, a lot of teams spend more. This is what they're going to say. The Rams spend way more on quarterbacks than we. The Rams had Jared Goff on their salary cap. They had Stafford. They were spending like $45 million on quarterbacks and won the Super Bowl. Why can't we spend $35 million on quarterbacks? That's they're going to say something like that. I'm like, yeah, you can, but doesn't it help Trey? I mean, the Rams didn't have a choice. They had to spend that money on Goff. You can cut Jimmy, get rid of him, put that money into players that'll help Trey. You didn't do that. I really don't think having an expensive backup is the best way to help a quarterback, but I don't know.
It's not. It's not the best way to help a young quarterback's confidence either. Not when there are players that back Jimmy Garoppolo the way they do. They are starting to back Trey Lance, though. I'm listening to their tone and things that they're saying and some of the leaders and how they're speaking up and some of the things that they say about Trey Lance. I think that's very encouraging if you're Trey Lance.
But don't you sort of take, as a player, like take your cues and tone from like the coaches? And if you're there and you're like, oh, well, they told Jimmy to stay away. They gave Trey all the reps. They must like Trey. I'm allowed to say something nice about Trey now. But if they bring Jimmy back, does all of a sudden players are like, well, what the fuck do they really think about Trey? Like, what are we doing? How does Kyle really feel? You know what I'm saying?
It's tough too because this one has played out in the media a lot more than what I dealt with in New York. You know, when I was in New York that year, they did draft Geno Smith. And they had Mark Sanchez. And they had been to multiple AFC championship games with Mark Sanchez.
Right.
And there was a quarterback competition. And I remember that. You know, but I don't remember the players caring. Like, you know, like I can't worry about that. I have to do my job. True. Like the 49ers, and maybe because the players are asked about it so much, but I've never seen anything play out in the media the way that this has. When I was with the Jets, and that's a huge market. They were always talking about Tim Tebow up until Tebow got cut when I was there. Right. You know, they're always talking about these other things. Huge market. But the players and the quarterback situation and that whole QB battle, I don't know, the player. I don't remember anybody talking about it. I never talked about it with anyone. It was just like, man, I got to focus on, okay, show muff bluff. Where am I? Okay, I got to drop down here. Then how do I do this if they squeeze it to three? Like, I'm focused on that, not these dang quarterbacks.
Yeah, imagine you fans focus on that stuff. That was your one shot at your dream. You're focused on you. Yeah, it's true. Yeah. But I just wonder how a lot of these players are focused on themselves when they get to the podium. So what'd you think of Trey? What about Jimmy? Who's your quarterback? Hey, can we talk about something else, please? Do I just have to come up here and talk about a position that I'm not focused on? I'm focused on me.
They do not care, too. I promise you. Those players do not care.
They don't care. Just tell me who the quarterback is so I can know. Corey says, it seems to me these reports mean absolutely nothing. Media inventing narratives during the drought. I wouldn't exactly call Coward a credible source. I wouldn't go that far, man. These guys are extremely connected. They could just call. I mean, he worked with John Lynch at the same place. He's had Mike Shanahan on his show multiple times. John Lynch wrote a book about Mike Shanahan. These guys have, it would be irresponsible to have someone's number and not even try to call. I'm just saying I wouldn't look at it that way. I don't think this is podcasters on the come up trying to make a name for themselves. Anyway, Josh says, did you see what Jimmy Ward said? Yeah. What are your thoughts on him saying he's going to test free agency? Do you think Niners will do what they can get? I think he just means that when his contract's up, he's going to get a lot of money again, and that'll prove how good he is. I think that's all he means. I could be wrong.
Yeah. I think the narrative around Jimmy Garoppolo as far as like league wide, I think what he's saying is like teams would value me more than PFF in their rankings.
Yes.
So the rankings can say whatever, but if I hit free agency, I'm getting paid.
Yeah, that's the real ranking right there.